Good evening. It's now 6:04 p.m. I'd like to call this meeting to order. If everyone could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. We have an anticipated adjournment to the executive session. Can I please get a motion?
I move that we adjourn to executive session to discuss collective bargaining negotiations, the employment history of particular persons, personnel matters and/or employee records, and matters deemed confidential by state or federal law, including seeking advice from counsel.
It's been properly moved in second. Are there any discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. Thank you. We will be out promptly at 7 p.m. Thank you. Huh?
So we're going live in 30 seconds.
I hear you, but I can't.
What?
I hear you, but I can't.
Hello.
Hi.
Luke here. We're going live in 30 seconds.
The news? Oh, 30.
Luke.
Okay, just tell me when we're live.
Gotcha. Will do.
Thank you. She said G8.
All right. You're live.
Thank you. Could be live, but we don't have the trustee. 1, 2, 3, 4. Trustees. I saw 1, 2 more. She took Ashley's chair from me. Christine, you have an extra chair somewhere? I was using Ashley's, but Trustee Washington took it. Where did the two of them go? Yes? That's fine. Thank you so much. Yeah, no, that's what. Why you got that on the floor?
I forgot I had a chair.
No, she got it first. She got that first. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's like an old-fashioned competition. Okay. I mean, we could start the public hearing. Yes? Yeah. Good evening. It's 7:21 p.m. and we're back in public session. First item on our agenda is the public hearing. And I need a motion to open the public hearing, please.
I move that we open the public hearing on the 2022-23 budget.
It's been properly moved in second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The hearing is now open. Are there any comments specifically on the 23-24 budget? Okay, Ms. DeFrancesco, did anyone sign up for the budget beforehand? No? Okay. Not for the budget specifically. Okay, and you have a presentation, Ms. Raymond? Great. Absolutely, thank you. Yes, Trustee Valen?
I apologize, but I just wanted to amend the motion, if possible, to say the 23-24 budget, not 22-23.
Sure,
I
the
don't know how to do that appropriately.
23-24 budget.
If Trustee Warner wants to do that since he made the motion.
I read what was in the agenda. I'll fix it.
Thank you.
No objection.
Okay, so we'll go to
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 23-24 budget hearing. We're going to start with how the tax cap was calculated. You begin with this year's tax levy, which was $63,369,015. To that, you can multiply the tax base growth factor. The tax base growth factor for the Greenburgh Central School District was 1.024, excuse me. This represents the new construction and or capital improvements that have been done in our school district. To that total, we would add the payments in lieu of taxes, also known as pilot payments, for the 22-23 school year. Pilot payments are offered to corporations to get them to come into your district to improve your tax base. In lieu of them being added to the tax roll, they are given an incentive for approximately 10 years to pay an amount that is lesser than what they would pay in their taxes. So for the 22-23 year, pilot payments that the district received was $278,086. We then would subtract out the capital levy exclusions for the 22-23 year. Capital tax levy exclusions are those debt obligations on capital projects. Currently, the Greenburgh Central School District has no capital projects, but the tax levy here that we are obligated to pay are those capital expenditures for Southern Westchester BOCES that are allotted to the Greenburgh Central School District. To this total of $65,131,115, we would multiply the allowable levy growth factor. This is also known as the Consumer Price Index, or CPI. So you take the lesser of CPI, or 2%. Currently, CPI is much higher than 2%, so we were limited to 1.02. Then we would, to this total, subtract out the pilot payments that we anticipate receiving for the 23-24 school year, and then we can add an available carryover. The available carryover is the difference between the maximum we could have levied and what we did levy. That difference multiplied by 1.5% allows us to add $983,433 to this tax levy calculation. Then we would add back what we're obligated to pay in capital tax levy exclusions, which again, this is our portion for Southern Westchester BOCES. So the maximum tax levy for the 23-24 school year, to get a simple majority, which is 50% plus one vote at the budget, would be $67,221,406. This proposed budget proposes a tax levy of $65,272,377. In comparison to the tax levy for this year, this represents a little more than $1.9 million increase, which is a 3% levy-to-levy increase. The revenue section of this budget is broken down into much fewer components than the expenditure side. The largest component of any school district's revenue budget is the tax levy. And again, we are proposing a tax levy of $65,272,377. The next largest revenue source is state aid. We anticipate a 12.02% increase at this point in time in our state aid, and that is from the numbers that have been released by our New York State governor in her budget proposal. The increase here represents foundation aid being fully funded after many years, and an increase in expense-driven aids, which are transportation aid and BOCES aid. We plan on applying $2 million again from fund balance. And included here in miscellaneous revenues are the sales tax that we collect from Westchester County, which is approximately 1.11% of the overall sales tax that is collected by the county. We are expecting an increase there from the trends that we have seen. Also budgeted here in the increase is Interest income, we have seen an increase in interest rates, and we anticipate making at least what we are making this year, which is significantly more than what was budgeted. And also an increase here is from our health and welfare and tuition billing. So we are proposing a budget of $78,032,174. This is a 4.67% budget to budget, but our tax levy increase proposed is 3% from 22-23 to 23-24. So the budget can be broken down by 6 functions. Those are general support, instruction, pupil transportation, employee benefits, debt service, and interfund transfers. All of these functions could include, and the majority of them do, salaries, equipment, supplies and materials, textbooks, contractual items, and BOCES expenditures. To break these functions down by each component, the general support is for the Board of Education expenses, which includes the Board of Education, the district clerk, and the district meeting, which is also known as the annual budget vote. Central administration includes the superintendent's office, the business office, all financial components such as all 3 audits that we have, treasurer, legal fees, recruiting, records management, and public relations. Under operations and maintenance, that is all of our buildings and grounds staff, all of the expenses pertaining to each building, which also includes all of our utilities. We have seen a significant increase in our fuel and our electric bills, and that is what represents the majority of the increase here. And then under technology, the data processing portion of technology is budgeted under general support. And then we have special items, which are for BOCES administrative fees, judgments and claims, assessments, and refunds of property taxes. So for the 23-24 budget, we are proposing a general support budget of $9,491,916, which is a 6.41% increase from this school year. Next is the instruction function. This is the largest function of all 6. This includes the administrative portion, which is where we budget for curriculum and curriculum development, all of our principals and directors and their offices, all other expenses, including in-service and international baccalaureate. Under regular and special education, instruction, this is where we budget for all teachers, teacher assistants, and our one-on-one aides, as well as all the other expenses that I had previously mentioned of equipment, supplies and materials, contractual items, and BOCES. Under instructional support and pupil personnel, here's where we budget for our psychologists, our nurses, our LPNs, social workers, occupational therapists, library services, technology, attendance, guidance, summer school, extracurricular, and athletics. So we are proposing an instruction budget of $38,751,012, which is a 3.81% increase. Next is pupil transportation. This is where we budget for all of our transportation needs. We budget for the expenses for our transportation building, which is located here on this campus, as well as our contracted transportation with Royal Coach. Royal Coach's contract cannot increase any greater than the May CPI. May CPI will not be released until June, so we have to base this on the trends that have been happening over the last couple months. So we base this on a 7% increase. We also budget for the fuel for our buses here, sports trips, field trips, after-school runs, and any and all transportation that is provided for all of our private school students, which we currently transport to over 45 private schools. The budget for pupil transportation for the 23-24 school year is $7,594,449, which is an 8.1% increase. Lastly is the employee benefits, and here's where we budget for everything that pertains to our staff and their salaries. We budget for the employee retirement system, also known as ERS, which on average is a 14.56% increase, and the teacher retirement system, otherwise known as TRS, which has seen a decrease to 9.72% for the 23-24 school year. We also budget for Social Security, workers' compensation, life insurance, unemployment insurance, which we have decreased based on the trends of what we've paid over the last couple years, disability insurance, health and dental insurance. We currently have 3 health insurance plans. The largest of those plans we know will be increasing by 7%. We don't know about the other 2 health insurance plans until around November, December of every school year, but we anticipate that those will increase also at least by 7%. And union welfare benefits. So the 23-24 employee benefits are budgeted at $20,444,797, which represents a 4.72% increase. Then we have our debt service and our interfund transfers. Every year we budget $25,000 for interest for a tax anticipation note. We budget this money in case we need to take a note to help us get through the beginning of the year during tax collection. If we were to have to take a tax anticipation note, we would pay that back as soon as we collected our taxes, and this just represents the interest that we anticipate that we would have to pay. We transfer money to the federal funds, and that's all because of timing on their fiscal year and our fiscal year. And then we're proposing again to transfer $1.3 million to the capital fund to help fund the replacement of the R.J. Bailey Elementary School auditorium roof, the Highview Elementary School window walls, and anything else that is left over, we would put to any other renovations, for example, improving our bathrooms. These 6 functions can be broken down then by object. The objects that I had previously mentioned are salaries and benefits, which are the largest of a school budget. This represents 70.44% of the overall budget. Equipment, supplies and materials, contractual items, tuition, BOCE services, debt service, and interfund transfers. So once again, we are proposing a budget of $78,032,174. This budget then can be broken down into a 3-part budget, which has to be done by 3 components: the administrative component, the program component, and the capital component. And you will see once again that the largest component out of every school budget would be the program component, where the majority of our instruction, and actually all of our instruction, is budgeted. If we had to go to a contingent budget, which if the budget is defeated on the first try, the Board of Education can put up the same budget or modify the budget for a second try. If it's defeated then we would have to go contingent. In a contingent budget, you cannot raise the tax levy any more than the previous levy that was approved by the taxpayers. Therefore, we would have to reduce our tax levy to $63,369,015, which is the tax levy for this school year. And we would have to cut $1,903,362 from this budget. All non-contingent items must be removed from the budget. This is the majority of the equipment that would be budgeted for, any rental or lease of office equipment, any salary increases that are not covered by a collective bargaining agreement, and any capital interfund transfers. So a contingent budget would be $74,828,812. What is the impact to the taxpayers? If we levied $65,272,377, that is a 3% increase levy to levy. The assessment per our town as of March 1st was increased by the town assessor, by the Office of Real Property Services, and by an independent contractor analyzing the trends of our district. The 3 of them got together, they compare their notes, then they make a recommendation that is taken back to Albany, and then the Office of Real Property Services will make the final determination. So our Greenberg Central School District's assessment was increased by 6.7%. On a single-family home assessment, which our assessor told Amy and I that the average assessment is in the $500,000 to $550,000 range. This single-family home that was assessed at $516,000 this school year would increase to $558,100 next year, which is an 8.16% increase. So with an increase of 3% in our tax levy, this sample tax bill would increase by $344.83 for the 23-24 school year. And just a reminder that our budget vote is Tuesday, May 16th from 7 to 9 at the Woodlands Middle High School. If anybody has any questions that they think of after tonight's presentation, you can email us at budget@greenbergcsd.org and somebody will get back to you. Thank you. Are there any questions?
You're going to head back
The
up.
board's going to return.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Okay, are there any members of the public who have questions about the budget or the budget presentation? Please come to the mic to ask those questions. I don't see anyone, any movement. There were some questions emailed to the superintendent, assistant superintendent. I don't know if you want to try to answer some of those or clarify. And any board members who have questions, just let me know and I will call on you. Do you guys want to elaborate on any of those questions? Any board members have questions that they want to follow up on? I know you had some. Trustee Warner, go ahead.
No, I already voiced my
Okay,
concerns
do you
prior to the
wanna-
budget vote. We're here.
Okay, great. So no questions from this group? Trustee Valen? No? Look at that. Can we get a motion then to close the public hearing?
I move that we close the public hearing on the 2023-24 budget.
It's been properly moved in second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries at 7:42 p.m. Wonderful. Next, we have reports and public comments. Are there any committee reports? Trustee Warner.
Okay, this is a report for the Finance and Facilities Committee. The Finance and Facilities Committee met on 4/20/23 at 6:30 p.m. at the Woodlands Innovation Lab and via Zoom. Attendees included David Warner, Lisa Raymond, Dennis Pugliese, Chris Vallon, Katie McGee, Jessica Muldoon, Megan Hawk, Gabriella Barahona, Amy Ashley Moore, Tracy Maris, Victoria Bolton, Steve Morton, Ashley Pineda, Walter Simon, John Kane, Kaliana Valdala, Sarah Lazari, Fred Seba, Dr. Linda Iverson, Dr. Christopher Macaluso, Jack Foster, and Elizabeth Sindona. I'm not going to read this entire report. It's 6 or 7 pages long, so I'm going to skip through parts of it. Topics discussed included finance. Per Lisa Raymond, the district has submitted an application to DASME to receive $500,000 system award management grant secured by former New York State Assemblyman Tom Abenati to renovate the R.J. Bailey Auditorium. Ms. Raymond is also working with Ms. Messina from BBS on submitting the project to NYSED. Expanding the scope of the roof replacement, not just a patch anymore, but a large proportion of the roof, and designating a portion of the $1.3 million capital interfund transfer to cover the costs. The district is also working with DASNY to receive a $500,000 Systems Award Management grant secured by New York State Senator Andrea Stewart Cousins to upgrade the Woodlands track. BBS will provide a detailed project scoping. 2, Dr. Iverson met with Assemblywoman Mary J. Shimsky, who requested we provide estimates of possible facilities projects in the $300,000 to $500,000 range for her to submit to the New York State budget. That would include the 8-lane track project as well as some other projects. That the governor declared victory last Thursday, and this week they're in the process of passing the budget. We'll find out what we get when that process is complete. American Rescue Plan update. We allocated $1.6 million for ventilation fixes with the New York State Education Department submission deadline of September 23rd. We recommend allocating funds to the Phase 1 project that's already been approved by NYSED, all the things we're going to do to fix the ventilation on R.J. Bailey and all the other things that have been that are waiting until all the furnaces get turned off for summer fixes. This frees up an equivalent amount from the 2020-2021 excess fund balance to be transferred to other projects. That's $1.6 million. Audit Committee update. I think I'll leave that for another time. Facilities fund update. We have approximately $5.5 million encumbered for ongoing projects, including the Phase 1 ventilation work, the R.J. Bailey Auditorium and roof, the mansion roof, Highview walls, Woodland Security Vestibule, and the Waterline Fire Hydrant projects. We have about $5.8 million currently unencumbered, most of it in the Repair Reserve Fund. There is a project summary included in the written version of the report with more detail. I sent that to you guys by email earlier on, so if you want to get into the depth and detail, it's there. Item 6, Dr. Iverson, Dr. Macaluso, and Ms. Raymond reviewed the 2023-24 budget presentation from the April 18th board meeting, and we've got an update since then, so I want to skip that part. Item 7, the energy performance contract update, Vidala Kalyana from RWE, which is formerly Con Ed Solutions. He presented to us an update on the work on that contract. We completed testing and submitted an application for gas supply interconnection with Con Edison for the various schools. We're going to have natural gas for most of the boilers. Reviewed current scope of work with GCSD. There are changes from the previous version. Highview, there are two boilers to be replaced and connected to the gas line from the Yale side instead of coming up through Richard Presser Park. The mansion's no longer included in the scope of work because it won't be ready by 2024-25. Lee F. Jackson, we have one boiler that's in need of replacement, so they added that to the scope. Testing revealed there's insufficient sunlight at the east wing of Highview roof to justify solar panels. So we cut back some trees, but it wasn't enough. If we go back and at some future point do the rest of the Highview roof, the parts that's not up by the slopes, we could do something with that, but that's a separate agreement. The Woodlands rooftop unit refurbishment was no longer included in the scope based on the revised estimate of 5% interest rate. I think we may be pushing to take that back and re-including it in the process. New water heaters are being installed at Woodlands Middle High School. We reviewed cost differences from the original contract. I'm going to skip down to some items that have an effect on our agenda for tonight. We're on target to submit to NYSED by June 30th, 2023. BBS is currently in design and exchanging information with RWE Energy. A 25% payment to the utility needs to be submitted so proof of payment can be submitted to NYSERDA to lock down the rebate money. The total amount is $239,000, 25 of which is $59,000, and RWE will front that money. So in order to do that, we have to pass a resolution. So there are two resolutions on the agenda tonight. One is H8, one is H7. So one is the completed contract, and we're not ready to do that yet. They haven't filled in all the detail, and they won't have that until June. So we should be tabling that. At least that's the recommendation. And the other one, the short one that just allows them to go and make sure that the reimbursement is locked down, we should pass. So that's H7 versus H8. We'll deal with that when we get there. I'm going to skip the next couple of items. Then Phase 2 construction project. The roof project cost estimate is now $11.95 million. replacing the roofs in all the school district buildings, so we need to have a bond in the fall on that. The secret documentation was requested and received. That's item J22 on our agenda tonight. So, secret means there's no environmental impact to this particular project, so we're good. I'm going to skip a couple of items, and we'll go to item 10. Facilities projects, the large projects. Woodlands Middle High School security vestibule, $450,000, was delayed due to issues with the contractor, which we discussed briefly in closed session. The mansion roof and masonry, $1.6 million. Interior demolition work is complete. Masonry work is substantially completed. Skylights have been ordered. Flat roof reconstruction is ongoing. The pitch roof is 100% complete. Phase 1, Highview, the control work will not be deleted from the mechanical contractor's scope of work. Fire-rated glass in the lobby will be installed when the material arrives. Lee F. Jackson, work will continue approximately May 15th. Control work will be deleted from the scope of work as it is part of the ECP contract now. Credit will be determined. Woodlands, new control work won't be deleted from the scope of work. New door installation to be done once material arrives. Early childhood program floor abatement is completed. New flooring is installed. Balance of work will be done over the summer of 2023. R.J. Bailey auditorium renovations. Documents completed 90%. Historical preservation information received. Secret determination board resolution has been made and will be submitted to Mr. Messina for SED submission. Woodlands Middle High School tennis courts. Letter of intent has been submitted to SED. Courts cannot be resurfaced. There is structural damage. So we need to completely remove the old tennis courts and put in new ones. This may require a topographic survey. Schematic design is on hold. Estimates have been submitted to the district for approximately $350,000 to $400,000. Okay, so that's one of the things. You get some money from the state if you can, and then you make up the difference and go forward with it. The Woodlands High School track. At the time, the 6-lane track option that we have money for from the state was about $500,000, and the 8-lane was $1.2 million. We're coming up with a slightly revised estimate since the meeting. A letter of intent has not been submitted, waiting for confirmation of the funding and scope of the work, but we're working on it. Okay. Highview window replacement, $450,000. Construction documents, 90% completed. Funding information and Board of Education resolution needs to be prepared prior to SED submission. We're waiting on the historical preservation documents. The water main and fire hydrant project, $815,000. Construction documents 90% completed. Funding information and Board of Education resolution needs to be prepared prior to SED submission. We're waiting for SECRA and SHPO documents, or we were. Rock testing has been done, and we're waiting for results before going out to bid. The grade level reconfiguration plan, which is not this next year, but in a future year, that'll be, the idea is Lee F. Jackson becomes pre-K, K, Highview becomes grades 1 and 2, R.J. Bailey grades 3 through 5, Woodlands Middle High School grades 6 through 12, and some administrators have to go to what's currently the ECP main building. The BBS submitted a proposal for a cost of district-wide building utilization study, about $26,830. We're trying to see if we've got any old records from CS Arch that'll save us that money, and we need to make sure that we don't have it already before we go out and contract for a new study. Smaller projects, the one that I'm just going to highlight one, the ECP main building, we were concerned about there being cement floors. There were cement floors for about a day. Okay, so asbestos abatement on classroom tiles and vinyl tile replacement over the spring recess were completed, and so everything is like it should be. The exterminator has dealt with the insect problems several times this month. And I'm going to skip on down. You can read all of the small things that have happened school by school in the rest of the report, which I provided for you. Other concerns, at the end, we discussed surveillance of school property from people trespassing, some boulders put in place on the grounds to prevent people from driving where they shouldn't. Requested Home of the Wise program on Woodlands West Hartsdale Avenue entrance sign be repainted where it's faded out, and we'll use the new Wise logo with the wings. Thank you, Dr. Fritz. The next meeting of the Finance and Facilities Committee is this Thursday, May 4th at 6:30 p.m. at the Woodlands Innovation Lab. You can also attend via Zoom. There will be a link on the district website. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Warner. Any questions or comments about his report? I did have just 2 points of clarification because you were reading very quickly. With the R.J. Bailey Auditorium, all I was able to write down how fast you were speaking were submissions. So where are we with the auditorium?
So we've got money for the larger roof, large portion of the roof to be replaced. We've gotten, I believe, would you like to speak for a moment on what you did to figure out what the seats should look like? And the
I just
fabrics
want to
and all
know, like, the process. How much longer, where are we in the process, and how much longer are we waiting?
We should be done with the submission process by the time the school year is over, if not a little sooner.
By the time this school year
By
is
the
over?
time this school year is over.
Then after we're done with the secret process, what is the next step?
Then after you're done with the NYSED submission process, NYSED looks at the thing for a while and comes back and says, go ahead or not. And you negotiate back and forth, and it could be weeks or a couple of months, and then you're ready to do something.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
Wouldn't the assistant superintendent of business know the process?
Do you want to tell us anything additional about the process?
He got it all right?
That's the process.
Okay, and the second question, Trustee Warner, the $350,000 to $400,000 for the tennis courts here at Woodlands Middle High School. So you just gave us kind of the cost. Is there going to be any movement on that, or?
Lisa, has there been significant movement on the tennis court costs?
Not at this time, no. We're still waiting to hear back for some funding for that, but we haven't secured that yet.
Okay, but we are looking at places or people that may
Yes.
provide funding for us?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, that was it for my questions. Any other questions, comments? Any other committee reports? No? Okay. Moving on. Next on the agenda is Board President's Report. I'll try to keep this quick. I did want to acknowledge that our Board of Education student ex officio member, Jennifer Rose, who is a senior at Woodlands Middle High School, was featured on the Today Show yesterday. I hear some claps from the audience. My understanding is that she was accepted to many, many schools, but chose Columbia University right here in New York. I also have heard grumblings that there are many, many other wonderful schools that our seniors have been accepted to, and we're looking forward to hearing maybe a list from the superintendent soon to hear where our students have been accepted and where they're choosing to attend, because we have all types of detractors out there, and it's important to note that our children are awesome, and even if they don't choose to go to an institution of higher learning, they are doing very, very well. So I think that's excellent. We're going to see Jennifer again soon because she is one of our ex officio members, and we will definitely, acknowledge her and her accomplishments. So that's one thing. Next, I want to recognize that yesterday was National Principals Day, and we did send out a message from the Board of Ed acknowledging our principals and our building leaders. And then today is National Teachers Day. We also sent out a message from the Board of Education acknowledging our teachers and the work that they do with our students every day. There are a lot of teachers here tonight. I also want to acknowledge that Trustee Warner and I went to the very large Saving Greenberg meeting on April 27th, I believe it was, and Dr. Iverson joined us as well. We all spoke on the importance and the crucial position of supporting our school district, and also coming out to vote. We can't tell people how to vote, but we would like them to vote in the budget on May 16th, and the importance of having a unified unincorporated Greenberg and how that may affect the school district if there were to break up unincorporated Greenberg. Lastly, I was asked to announce that the Woodlands Middle High School Scholarship Fund is having their flea market event this Saturday, which is May 6th, at Pressure Park, which is right down from Highview, where our property is, from 10 to 5 all day. And if you'd like to donate some fleas, some items to sell. You could do that on Friday night. The Woodlands Middle High School Scholarship Fund is very, very important fund. This is a fund full of volunteers, and all of the money goes back to Woodlands graduates directly, no one else. So we definitely want to try to support that scholarship fund. That's all for me. Next on our agenda is the superintendent's report, and I'll turn it over to Dr. Iverson.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to begin my comments as well by recognizing all of the outstanding leaders in our district, our principals and our teachers, for National Principal Day, National Teacher Day, as well as Administrative Professional Day, which was last month, but they are certainly being recognized as well. We know that everyone who's in our district plays a very important role in the lives of our students, and the work you do could not be recognized enough. So I too want to piggyback on your comments and recognize everyone for the outstanding job you do each and every day for the students here in Greenburgh. Thank you. I have a few more announcements. I had the opportunity to attend in the Innovation Lab here at Woodlands High School, the TWR recognition for the students in our district who were being recognized for their outstanding writing. It was so impressive. The representatives from TWR were here, and they made a point of recognizing and stating to the parents and to all of us that out of all of the applicants and all the submissions nationally across the states, Greenburgh Central School District had the most winners. So our students are learning and are bright and writers and readers, and they're doing an outstanding job. And all of them had the opportunity to read their prompt to the audience, and they were just well-read, well-written, and very, very good. So congratulations, students, to you. Keep up the good work. I also want to talk about or mention that I just want to thank the students who are listening tonight who are completing the student survey. That survey is eliciting from you, students, how you feel, your perceptions around the climate here in your various schools, and we're very interested in hearing from you. We know how important your voice is in this work. We want to do more with you next year, and I think I received over 500 responses so far, and that survey is still running, so very impressive. Thank you so much. There was the last question on the survey asking those students who would like to serve on the Superintendent Advisory Council next year, and I think I have over 200 people who want to serve on that, so we'll have to come up with some kind of process to limit that. But I want to publicly thank all the students who took the time, and the teachers and administrators who stopped and had time in your day for the students to take it, because I think it was administered through the ELA block. So thank you for that. I really do appreciate it. We're really about student agency and making sure that students have a voice in some of the roles the work that we do here, since it definitely impacts them. I would be remiss if I did not stop and thank and recognize our valedictorian and our salutatorian for the 2022-23 year. Congratulations to Nicholas Lorente Valen, who is our superintendent, who's our valedictorian for this year. Yeah, he can have that job too, right? So we want to congratulate him. Valedictorian is the top student in the district. And he came through our schools, kindergarten through 12th grade. So it says that he got a tremendous education here from our teachers and great support from parents and our students, and we're so proud of him. I look so forward to hearing his comments at the graduate commencement, and I publicly want to thank him and recognize him for being our valedictorian for Woodlands Middle High School. Second, our salutatorian, and our salutatorian, second in line, Giselle Dominguez. Very, very lovely young lady, just again here with us from kindergarten to 12th grade. And so, those are indicators of that we're doing a great job, because when they stay with you and they make these type of marks, they are gone, I'm sure, to very good schools. We have a lot to be proud of. Thank you for letting us educate them. Thank you to all who are in the audience and principals who work with them. We're very proud of them. It brings just a lot of passion and tears to my eyes, and I look forward to hearing what she has to say too. So congratulations to both of them. And I just, I just want to mention that this month we do have a lot of activities going on, and choral concerts are coming up. They're posted outside on the marquee as you drive into Woodlands. This is Mental Health Awareness Month. We know that Mental Health Awareness Month is very important. Many people suffer in silence and have concerns around their mental anxiety, and we need to be very cognizant of that and just be very supportive of that. We have students in our elementary schools and all over that I've had the opportunity or I've been involved with some of the principals who are really struggling, and we're putting in some tremendous supports to help them along the way. So it's nothing to take lightly. It's something to really just appreciate and be very sensitive to. So we certainly want to recognize Mental Illness Month for those persons who are suffering, and so we continue to support them. And I think that's all I have. Yeah, those are the end of my comments. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Iverson. Are there any questions, comments? I just wanted to say, to piggyback on what you were saying about Trustee Vallen's son, I'm sorry, I know you don't like the spotlight. I'm going to do it anyway. So 5 of us on this board of 7 have children in the schools, and it's extremely difficult to balance those roles. And thankfully, I think we all have pretty good kids, but it is very difficult. And so I additionally do want to acknowledge Nico Vallen for doing so well academically and, giving up his mother and giving up that time. Because we do spend an awful lot of time reading an awful lot of documents, having a lot of conversations, and also balancing that role of parent and board member. So I wanted to, bring that up. So good job, Trustee Vallen. And also we have Trustee Washington has a graduate coming out as well, who went here from K through 12. So thank you for your commitment and investment in our district and your volunteerism on the board. Okay, next.
Well, that was my husband. He said, go Jaden Washington. That's right. I have the mic. It's on.
And next we have the assistant superintendent. Oh, so you're right. Trustee Washington's son has a board member parent who's busy, and also a parent who's a teacher. So that's a lot of stress for a student in the school where he attends. So next we have the Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum, Instruction, and Personnel, Dr. Macaluso.
Good evening, Greenberg community. I want to remind everybody that one of the very important events that we have going on this month is our pre-K through 12 art show. So thank you to all of the art teachers, some of who I see in the audience, for making that happen. That will happen again Wednesday, May 17th at Town Hall from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. So we look forward to seeing all of our parents and our students' work showcase. And of course, again, thank you to the teachers for all their work with that. The other announcement I'd like to give as an update is our summer reading initiative. So as I spoke at the last meeting, once again, we will be providing a paper book to every single student in this district. And we'd like to also recognize that on June 9th will be our launch of our summer reading activities at our schools. So please be on the lookout for that. That will also be accompanied by a June 13th Parent University, where we will share some summer fun activities with our parents. So please be on the lookout for that. Parents, we hope to see you on the 13th. Remember, Parent Universities, we have lots of activities, we have lots of snacks, so please come out and join us. Look for the books sometime during the week of June 9th, and we will also be having our students visit the Greenberg Public Library as well during the week of June 7th through 9th for Woodlands Middle High, June 13th for Lee F. Jackson, June 16th for Highview, and June 12th for Richard J. Bailey. Finally, I want to remind everybody that a notice was sent out regarding ALP testing, which will begin the week of May 22nd. And with that, I just want to clarify something that some of our parents may have recognized a little bit earlier on today. And I want to frame my information I'm going to share with starting off with the following. And we talk about equity in our district, and I want to use the following as the definition for equity. So just Googling equity, which is something that's almost as common practice as brushing your teeth nowadays, the first hit that you get in Google is the quality of being fair and impartial. So why do I share that? First and foremost, I'm going to speak on behalf as your Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction and an educator. as a parent of a school-age child, and also as a community member who resides here. And the reason why I say that is because earlier in the day, some of our parents at Highview may have received a copy of the ALP letter that was distributed by me that had an incorrect sentence in it. It was a carryover from the previous year, and we apologize for that. But in that, the concept of equity was resurfaced because, as a reminder, parents who have children who are new to the district, you will automatically be tested for ALP with the COGAT. If you have appealed or asked to be rescreened from the selection process from last year, you will also be tested, as well as all first grade students in general education and co-teaching settings will be tested. So how is that an equitable practice, we believe, here in Greenburgh? Parents, you are the third leg of the parent-teacher-school triangle, right? So we have teachers, we have parents, and we have the students. And so while we do recognize that for some parents there may be a little bit of a difference in how they navigate asking their teacher to have their child rescreen, we encourage you parents to please make sure you keep in constant communication with your teachers, because that is another method in which your child may be rescreened for ALP. So please, again, parents, if you would like your teacher to be the spokesperson for you on behalf of your child being retested for ALP, please have your teacher, please speak to your teacher, and your teacher will speak to your principal, and that is another form of how your child may be retested for ALP. And we do believe currently that that is an equitable practice that is picking up as many of our students as possible who can be in this program. And so also, if you have any questions, parents, please know that you may always email me with any questions about ALP or any assistance that you might like to have with requesting a rescreen. And that is it for the Assistant Superintendent Curriculum Instruction Personnel Report.
Does anyone have any questions, concerns, comments for the Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum?
I just have a question. So you sent a letter out and something went wrong and then parents got upset about it?
So the first iteration of the letter went out, indicated that every student in grades 1 through 5 would be tested again. And as I have mentioned many times, we do not retest children who are already in ALP, and we are not retesting students who previously did not qualify. However, parents may request a rescreen. The teacher may request a rescreen if they've noticed that the child is gifted and talented. And that is another method of picking it up. So I do want to apologize because the previous iteration of the letter that went out from Highview School to Highview parents indicated that all students would be tested, and that is not correct.
So my next question, you started off using the word equity. So in reference to ALP, my opinion is that the current system of ALP is not equitable, and as a district we need to find multiple access points so that all students can access the same level of instruction, the same exposure, the same complex text. All of our students deserve that type of education. And I'm going to reiterate again that if I'm sitting in ALP, if I have 4 novels that I'm going to read throughout the year, I should have 4 novels in general education, my self-contained classes, and my 811s, because every child should be exposed to complex texts. It's about the approaches and how they're going to access. So as we move forward as a district, I would just encourage our administration to make sure that all of our students have a certain high level of education in every single classroom. And that will be it for me.
Are there any other questions or concerns? Just to tag on to what Trustee Washington said, Dr. Iverson, I was on the board when the ALP program was started, and equity was a pretty big issue. I 100% was in favor of the ALP program, and a lot of the people who were not really addressed me directly because of the equity issue and the concern that although the testing entry process was going to be fair, and there was an additional layer back then. There was the COGAT and the STAR, I believe, which was additional test.
that eventually things would become inequitable, and we had talked about that here. I did get some feedback after going to the R.J. Bailey parent orientation yesterday. There was some concern, as Trustee Washington actually brought up novels, there was some concern that what was said to me, I think specifically was, does it mean that the children in ALP are challenged and the children outside of ALP are not? And that was apparent. That was not my point of view. And I did actually, as a parent, speak to the administrator, who assured me that there would be other layers there for non-ALP students to receive a challenge. Trustee Washington has brought up before character something. I'm not an educator. I'm using the wrong terms. But we had a conversation about a student that may not be a strong reader reading a novel, and you said, and I said, maybe they could be novels on the student's level, and you said something.
No, I said that all children should be exposed to complex text. So all children should have grade level reading in front of them, but it's the way they access it. So if they can't read it on their own, the teacher could read aloud. There could be the audible, but there's multiple ways of students being able to access. And you already know that I'm just highly disturbed to hear all of the pedagogical approaches for the OUT program, and then when we heard things for the general education program, and the fact that our self-contained students don't even have access to AIS, that really kind of, frustrated me as a board member. So, yes, I said complex text.
Complex text.
And it should be grade level, and it's just the way that they can access the text. And we're not just talking about ELA. I should talk about the sciences. We should talk about social studies and math. So it should be across the board, and we just need to do better. We just really need to do better. That's all.
Okay, thank you. I saw you writing. So you got those notes, great. The only other questions I would have for the Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum, or Dr. Iverson, you could fill in, is what are the dates of summer school?
The academic program begins on Wednesday, July 5th, and runs through July 28th, Monday through Thursday only. And the ESY program begins on July 5th and extends through August 15th.
Thank you. And is that, Christine, you fill me in if I missed a resolution. I don't think I have, but is that calendar that we approve, or is that something the administration, did you guys come up with those dates arbitrarily? Because it's not on our calendar. Right, but not the summer school dates? Okay. No, I don't remember either. So, okay. So those are the dates. And Dr. Macaluso, you said Monday through Thursday, the academic 7/5 through 7/28. Who's involved in that program? Like, what is that? It's not extended school year, so.
That program is open to all students in grades K through 8.
Thank you. Okay. And sorry, one other question. I did get asked by a couple of parents. I'm glad that we had the TWR winners, the strong writers in our district, but we do have some students that suffer from difficulty with writing and elaboration and stamina. Is there any support for those students directly, or what programs do we have to support the students that are having trouble writing? Specifically, the questions came from middle high school parents who I guess are looking for, they're getting ready to possibly take, whether it's AP courses or Regents courses or IB courses. What additional supports are there? I know we have, a literacy coach, we have a math coach, but what about for the actual a writing class or supports that are in place for those students?
So currently supports for writing are through the classroom teacher, and in fact I had the pleasure of seeing the Writing Revolution block in place today at one of our schools, and so the supports are in the form of conferencing with the teacher. So once a student creates a piece of writing, teachers through a circulating schedule, conference with the students to give them very specific feedback on how they can improve upon their writing. And then for writing in particular at Woodlands Middle High School, we are extending the writing revolution work all the way up through 12th grade eventually in all content areas. So that will be common practice in every classroom in the secondary school, irrespective of the content area. I believe this year we're at grade 10 rollout. Next year will be 11, but I'd have to confirm that for us.
Thank you. Two more questions. So I do know that in the summertime, I don't know, it was last year, we approved additional writing supports for the IB students, diploma program students. Is there any sort of programming or anything that we could do for the whether it's non-IB or maybe students that aren't necessarily going to their second year of DP, or is there a recommendation for that sort of thing, or do we not think that we need that sort of thing?
Allow me to look into that. I mean, I've been
Okay.
working with Ms. Adore on some of those pieces, but I can confirm what additional pieces we can put in place as well.
Last question. Is there some sort of supports we can put in for our students with math? Because math is, it builds upon each other. We know that, like the algebra for all, you did, I think, in another meeting inform us that the 8th graders, there is returning 8th grade math, right, which is great. But how do we fill in those gaps, whether it's COVID years or whether it's, students that didn't do well in the regions moving up to the next level? Is there something we can do to fill in that gap for math?
So first and foremost, this year we implemented Do the Math, which is a Tier 2 and a Tier 3 intervention, Do the Math. And so our interventionists at Highview and RJB are currently working with students who would need that additional level of support with those materials. Those are the differentiated pieces. One of the things that we hope to do, and it would all be contingent upon budget and how things flow with that, is having conversations with the superintendent. We would like to eventually also add interventionists at our other schools, and in particular some additional support at Woodlands Middle High, so that students can have perhaps a double section of mathematics if our staffing allows us to do that.
Okay, thank you. Yeah,
Jim.
yes, Trustee Washington.
Dr. Iverson, is there a reason why we don't have summer school for middle high school? We do? Oh, we do?
We have we have summer school for middle school,
Oh, we do? Oh, not for high school, though.
not for high school. We have talked about that, but with the 8th graders, we have summer school at Highview. It goes up to middle school.
Oh, okay, wait.
That's
Oh,
the location.
wait, okay. So we're going to have 7th and 8th graders housed at Highview, or they're going to be housed at the middle school?
No, they're going to be housed at Highview like last year,
Oh.
one building.
Oh, I wouldn't think they would fit. I mean, like,
They were there last
physically.
year.
Oh, okay. So going back to the high school,
We don't have it in place.
are we
right now.
thinking about that?
Absolutely. Dr. McAloose and I have met about that. I mean, and beginning to think about it for next year, but it's not in place yet, no.
Do we have students that would benefit from summer school, you think?
So as Dr.
Absolutely.
Iverson has mentioned, she and I, as well as Mr. Smith and his team, have had some preliminary conversations about how we can perhaps offer some summer coursework at the high school level to perhaps assist students who would need to have that additional time so that they can catch up on their credits. But as Dr. Iverson has mentioned, we would not be able to put it in place this summer. We are looking into putting it into place for next summer.
So then our students who might have failed the class, where are they going?
Well, you haven't had summer school in place for years.
No, I know.
Okay,
So I'm asking the question, where are they
That's just some
going?
past practice. I want to make sure I mention it wasn't in place. So we're going to bring that here. Where they're going, I think the high, you can answer, but I think the high school is doing the scheduling. Some of them will
Some
be
of our
making up
students will
classes.
participate. I'm sorry.
Let me finish. Go ahead.
Some of our students might participate in summer school for makeup credit at neighboring districts. And that's all part of the conversations part of the information that we received from Mr. Smith when we had conversations.
Is there a cost to them attending neighboring districts summer school?
I believe they have
Yeah,
to.
they have to
I believe they have to pay
They
for it.
have to pay?
Correct.
The family has to
Yes.
pay?
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions or concerns or comments?
Hearing none, we're going to move on to the Assistant Superintendent for Business Report, Ms. Raymond.
Thank you. The March 2023 Treasurer's Report, we began with $52,274,381.96. Throughout the month, we deposited $2,629,705.04, and we had cash disbursements of $7,074,709.53, and we ended the month with $47,829,377.47. And the only other thing I have is that on April 17th, the Westchester County Board of Legislatures unanimously passed Local Law 2023-91, which is the School Bus Stop Arm Demonstration Program. This law will allow school districts to enter into intermunicipal agreements with Westchester County for the installation and operation of school bus stop arm cameras. These cameras will find drivers who illegally pass school buses with extended stop arms, protecting our Westchester students. Greenberg will enter into an intermunicipal agreement to initiate the stop arms being installed on all of our school buses. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Raymond. Any questions or comments? I just wanted to know, Trustee Long, do you want to talk or ask your questions about trips?
I do not yet. I need to formulate it more as I've learned more about the process. So
no
thank
worries.
you.
Trustee Raymond, Miss Raymond, do you have any, you did get an email about some trips and budgets for trips within the school buildings? Do you remember that email?
How they're funded?
Yes.
So we budget for field trip transportation every year, and I can tell you that as of today, Mr. Gunn has received requests for 3 trips at ECP, 8 trips at LF Jackson, 8 trips at Highview, 3 at RJ Bailey, and 36 at Woodlands Middle High School. And then any admission would be budgeted by the principals under their schools, either supplies and materials and or contractual line items.
So what you're saying is that the principals have budgets, money in their budget to fund a class or a grade trip?
Or to help with the funding. A lot of times I'm told that the PTAs help and or parents are paying for the money, the cost.
Right. So I think that was our confusion. I'll let Trustee Along talk, because I know in 2016, 2017, when I was at Bailey, we were told that we could not collect money and that the district had funding to pay for field trips. But I don't know if that's 2 field trips per grade, if that's 1 field trip per grade, so that's what I think we're inquiring. Is there actual money in the principal's budgets to fund field trips for students? So that's the question.
We would have to ask all of the principals. They're the ones that do
Well,
their
we
budgets.
have, no. So the district has a budget, and then we allocate a certain amount to the principals.
Correct.
So, right. So you would know if there was a line for a field day
No.
or field trips.
No, it's all one lump sum of money, and they decide how they're going to use that money.
So you're saying one lump under a certain code, and that code, they know, they have description of what can be used under that code, so they understand that they could use a certain amount of that code for field trips.
Correct.
For students in their building.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So, Ms. Raymond, would it make sense to have a line item for field trips? I mean, we do transfers all the time, so if it's expected to have 1 field trip at about this much, and then they don't use it, or parents pay, or the PTA gives, or whatever happens, we could always transfer that or reabsorb it somewhere else.
Correct.
Would it, with the history of the questions about trips and the issues, would it make sense to ask the building leaders to, hey, if you plan on having grade level trips, give us a estimate, and then
putting that actual line item so that that kind of ends the conversation? Or is that not?
I can break it out of the code that it's already in, sure.
I mean, I would have a conversation with them, see if they would like, maybe they wouldn't like that, I don't know, but I'm just wondering
But I
if
think
that
it
would be a
identifies
solution. Yeah.
that this code is for field trips, so then they know how much money they have, and then they could break it down within their building if they see that code. Right, and if they don't have enough for a second trip, then that's something that the PTA can help with and things like that. But at least if it's one trip per grade that the school can allocate, that's actually great.
You know, I think it's a conversation with the principals. We have it on the list for our meeting, but, you know, all of this will begin with us looking at the policy we have for field trips. And I think we need to read that first, see what's been approved by the board in the language, and if it's not meeting our needs, we need to start there. And maybe that's one of the policies we need to bring to the governance committee to amend first, so that it aligns with what we want, and then from there then we can have our principals kind of fall in line with that. So we'll have that on the agenda. It's a gray area. It's an area of conversation. We know there's a lot of questions out there, and I think it's just the time for us to look at it, and we will begin to do that at our meeting and throughout the summer.
All right, thank you. Trustee, Dr. Macaluso.
Apologies, I just wanted to state, I think I may have misspoke with the academic program, the dates, so allow me to clarify that, and I'll put it in the Friday report. But the ESY program is certainly Tuesday, July 5th through August 15th, which is a Tuesday as well. And I will clarify the end date for the academic program, and it definitely begins on July 5th, and is only Monday through Thursday. And I'll provide the end date in the weekly packet.
Okay.
I think I may have given you the wrong end date.
Got it, thank you. All right. Any other, yes, Trustee Valen?
Sorry, Ms. Raymond, I just wanted to follow up on something that came to my attention today. The state budget has been approved, and part of that includes that state funding will fully subsidize meals in school districts that participate in the community eligibility of the school lunch program. We've talked about this for months. I just was wanting an update on where we are in the application process.
We are working with our representative from Child Nutrition to get that application filed.
Just for folks that have not been following, I think it's important that we note that we do have large sums of balance due for our lunches, and some parents fill out the free and reduced lunch. Some parents are above that free and reduced lunch limit and create, a balance, and we have a running total. We get that total. Anybody remember around what the number is? I know the amount at Woodlands Middle High School because it's very high. It's $18,000. But do you know the full amount for all the schools? Does anybody know that around?
It's about $38,000.
$38,000 around there. I could pull it up in the packet, but the point is, it's a lot of money, and since the budget passed, as you said, Trustee Valen, if we could qualify to have lunches covered by the state, that'd be amazing for our students. Huh? Right, I know. Okay, moving on. Next, we have public comments. I have two public speakers here. Okay, first on our list is Mr. James Bell.
Madam Chair, I would like to request an executive privilege being the president of the Greenberg Teachers Federation.
What executive privilege would you like to request?
I would just need an extension of 2 minutes on my allotted 4-minute time so I can get through my speech.
I move that we increase the allotted time to an additional 2 minutes.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been properly moved in second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. You have 6 minutes, Mr. Bell.
Thank you so much. Greetings, President, Mayors, Board of Ed, Greenberg community. Just over a year ago, as president of the Greenberg Teachers Federation, I spoke contractual concerns related to the process of granting tenure or denying tenures to non-tenured teachers and teaching assistants within our district. Well, here I am again speaking public to discuss contractual misrepresentation of our CBA. All days is Teacher Appreciation Day, and we're out here late at night going over things in our contract, but I'll stick to this. First point, what is the status of the unused snow day for May 26, 2023? Second point, what's the district attendance policy and where is it documented? Third point, what is the district expectation of attendance and where is it documented? The major point we have here right now, the superintendent of school has negotiated in bad faith as it relates to an incentive on behalf of the Greenberg Teachers Federation. On March 15, 2023, the superintendent and her cabinet began discussing the possibility of an incentive for GTF members who are eligible for retirement by June 30th, 2023. After several weeks, the two parties mutually agreed on a dollar amount of $25,000 across the board for GTF members. However, before the MOA was signed, the GTF asked for clarification on line item number 4, what other district incentives are. At no point during the negotiation, the GTF members' sick leave was inclusive or binding to the 2023 incentive. Why would the GTF undermine its current contract, which expires June 30th, 2024? On page 12, letter C clearly states what teachers receive for the value of their sick leave at $65 per day, up to a maximum of 200 days. On page 34, letter C, number 2, number 3, clearly states what teachers' assistants receive for the value of their sick leave at $20 per day, up to a maximum of 180 days. On April 12, 2023, a GTF member retired and received a sick leave rate for unused days at the contractual rate of $65 per day. What has changed since April 12, 2023? An incentive that we started discussing March 15, 2023. Here are a few highlights from 21 years as a member of the GTF. I thank God for John McClain, a retired English teacher at the Greenberg Central School District. Mr. McClain greatly influenced my son to be passionate and creative with his writing during their time together in composition and literature. Javon always asked me to please tell Mr. McClain hello and thank him on his behalf. What's surprising to me is that Javon was an all-league football player, an all-league track and field runner. His English literature teacher holds the highest esteem for his experience here at Woodlands High School. Shout out to my teachers. I thank God for Dr. Joe Forey II, which I've had the pleasure to work alongside for the past 20 years. To the best of my knowledge, Dr. Foyer has yet to deny any student or family to be a part of his crowded caseloads because of his unwavering support for students and family of this community. I thank God for Ms. Robin Alves, a 30-year veteran who's also a second-generation teacher in the Greenburgh Central School District that's sitting here with crutches, whose mother nurtured me as a new teacher 21 years ago at R.J. Bailey. As a member of the GTF, and now the president, I have many more examples of committed teachers and faculty members. However, time is of the essence, but I think the board members have shouted out the accomplishments of their kids, and I just talked about the past, the current, and eventually I'm going to talk about the future. Dr. Iverson, will my GTF members please have the courage to stand up if you have less than 10 years in this district? Dr. Iverson, Superintendent of Schools, President Mayor of the Greenburgh Central School Board of Education, here's the future of our school district right before your eyes. Stand back up, guys, just in case they didn't see you. This is our future. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to leave you with this quote that I saw from one of my classmates, and I've edited a little bit. Board of Ed, instead of hiring more people that will quit, figure out why the current employees don't want to come in. Let's get to the root of the problem. The Greenburgh Teachers Federation is willing but can't continue to have our voices silent. I thank you for your time, and I thank my members for your patience. I thank other locals who came out and support us tonight. I thank NICES for the work that they do throughout the state that gave me inspiration not to be afraid to call on my young teachers in our district because they are the future. And I'm going to say it in front of you publicly as I say privately. Y'all know I want to just play golf. So you're the future of this district. And we veteran teachers, we got you. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. Next we have Mr. Thomas Tokarski.
It was really just backup in case he wasn't allotted the extra time, but I do want to say thank you for the discussion at the board meeting about the tennis courts. Thank you.
Okay, next on our agenda is an anticipated adjournment to the executive session. Can I get a motion, please?
I move that we adjourn to executive session to discuss collective bargaining negotiations, the employment history of particular persons, personnel matters and/or employee records, and matters deemed confidential by state or federal law, including seeking advice from counsel.
It's been properly moved in second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. We're in executive session, 8:43 p.m. Thank you.
You're live.
Thank you. Thank you. And it is 10:22 p.m.
sorry, it's 10:22 p.m. and we are back in open session. The first item on our agenda is personnel instructional items. Can I get a motion?
I move we approve the instructional personnel items presented to the board for approval this evening.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Next, we have personnel non-instructional items. Can I get a motion, please?
I move that we approve the non-instructional personnel items presented to the board for approval this evening.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried. Next, we have board action items. Can I get a motion?
I move that we approve the board action items with the exception of items H1 and H7 for approval this evening.
It's been properly moved in second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. I understand it is the board's intent to table H7, so that will be tabled. And H1, can you please poll the board?
Approve item H1.
I move that we approve the board action item H1 presented to the board for approval this evening.
I need a second.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second. Any discussion? Hearing none, can you please poll the board?
David Warner,
Yes.
Julia Long,
Yes.
Jamal
Yes.
Thomas, sorry,
Yes.
Chris Fallon,
Yes?
and Tracy Maris.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you. Next on our agenda is item pupil personnel items. Can I get a motion?
I move that we approve the people personnel services items presented to the board for approval this evening.
It's been properly moved in second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carried. Next, we're going to review the agenda items for next meeting. And trustees, stop me. I'm going to go pretty quickly because we have a lot of items. J1, J2, J3, J4, J5, J6, J7, J8, J9, J10, J11, J12, J13, J14, J15, J16, J17, J18, J19, J20, J21, J22, J23, J24, J25, J26, J27, J28, J29, J30, J31, J32, J33, J34, J35, J36, J37, J38, J39, J40, J41, J42, J43, hold on, lost my page. And that is it, right? Yes. Okay, no questions, no comments? Now we have new business items, K1. Yes, Trustee Valen?
Two small things. I did not give the Governance and Policy Committee report earlier because I haven't been feeling well, so I did not prepare the minutes, but we did discuss briefly possible dates for the reorganization meeting, albeit the elections have not yet taken place, so I'm assuming we will finalize this at the next board meeting after possibly reaching out to the people who've been elected. However, I don't know, President Maris, if we wanted to give a heads up on the date we're looking at, or if we just wait until the 18th.
I think we should wait till the 18th, but
Okay.
administration is available that day.
Okay, that's, okay, thank you for that. And the last thing is, I was reminded earlier tonight, we've not yet approved our board meetings for next year. Is that correct? Is that a calendar that we still have to get? I think we were going to revise some dates and get it back to us, or am I misremembering?
Yeah, so I gave you guys the calendar. You had asked me about some dates. I responded via email on why I chose the dates that I chose. But the actual calendar doesn't get approved until the new board member comes on.
At reorg?
At reorg, yes.
Okay.
So
that
at least
right?
that's what Ivy told me was the
don't
process
remember.
in the past.
Okay. Okay.
I don't recall. It's late. I'm sorry. Okay.
That was my question. Thank you.
That's it? Okay. Maybe trustees should review that email just in case they have any issues now ahead of time. All right. Any other new business? Hearing none, can I get a motion?
I move that we adjourn this meeting.
It's been properly moved in second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. 10:28 p.m. Good night. You have the moral of the story in
When I went to some school, we had to go to Mount Vernon.
But did you pay for it? That's the part that's appealing to me. If we don't offer summer school, but then we make you pay for summer school and other school? Good night, folks. Good night, thank you. Where am I signing?
Bye.
Right, that's what, right? That was just the moral